Do you know that there is a boy, loud, bold, and untrained? He never sat at the feet of elders. He never opened a scroll. Yet, he is standing tall like a self-crowned historian. I'll talk about it. He is scattering the dust where the truth once lies. He has no root in the archives. He has no scars from the battles of memory. He speaks with so much confidence of a scholar, yet I call him reckless. He has no evidence to back up his claims. This young boy has come not to preserve history, but to flip it upside down. He misplaced the dates, he misplaced the names, and he forgot heroes. He shouts louder than the people that carries the truth silently in their bones. I'm not here for a fight, let that be clear, but I will not fold my hands for my ancestors' history to be rebranded or twisted. I stand not with weapons, but with truth, so I'm going to make corrections in every part that deserve corrections.
Let us finally talk about the history of Benin and the history of Lagos. Ago, around November 26, 2023, the Oba of Benin ignited a huge controversy about the early history of Lagos State. He did so by making the claim that the Edo people of the Benin Kingdom were the founders of Lagos.
You all can listen to him on this video. He said the Oba of Benin made a claim. Him trying to debunk the Oba of Benin himself is contradicting the whole history and making it look as if he's trying to debunk what the Oba of Benin said. Let's listen to him.
When it comes to Yoruba history, Professor Banji Akintoye. So the Oba of Benin, in an admirably polished speech, made this statement that Lagos was founded by Benin, that Benin founded the nucleus of Lagos, and also that Benin founded the origin of Lagos. I am quoting him verbatim. So what we are going to do now is to just lay out the history of Lagos, the most ascertained history of Lagos according to the backings of archaeology and historical records, and also from the traditions of the Yoruba and Edo peoples. Now, the first settlers of the place known as Lagos today are the Awori people, and this peopling of this place happened many centuries ago.
The Aworis he just mentioned came later after the Benis must have settled in Lagos, which we call Eko. If you read the works of Professor Ajetumobi, you will notice that in some oral accounts, the Aworis are seen as Edo subgroup and not Yoruba. But over the years, the mixture of Edo people that settled there and the Aworis that claim their origin to be from other places are now counted as Yoruba people. The census that was done back in the days counted Eko as a different tribe and that of Benin origin, and Awori and some other settlements as different. But today, they are a mixture of the Benis and the Aworis, and they all claim to be Aworis due to their language today.
The Awori people are a subgroup of the Yoruba people. One commonly known thing about the Yoruba people is that we are an ethnic group with many subgroups and with different dialects of the same language.
Every tribe today that's under the umbrella name Yoruba were never under Yoruba. Yoruba is a race, like I said in one of my videos, and not a tribe. Yoruba are different people with different ancestry that choose to use one general name, which is the Oyo name. Oyo are the original Yoruba people, not today's Yoruba, as he is claiming in this video. Egba is Egba, Ijebu is Ijebu, Awori is Awori, Ile-Ife is Ile-Ife. They claim to use the general Yoruba language, which is the Oyo language, of which we all know. So saying Yoruba, 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 you have to make mention of the particular group or tribe of the Yoruba people today that had contact with the Benis or that made history with the Benis, not trying to force the whole Yoruba as a general name to be the ones that made this achievement with the Benis. So let's be clear. At some point, some tribes that are under the name Yoruba today fought not to be called Yorubas. Even Ijebus, the Abujale of Ijebu, said they were from Sudan and not from Ile-Ife, and they do not belong under the name of Oduduwa, who is said to be the progenitor of the whole Yoruba, which is a lie, because the people that are now a tribe under the Yoruba existed before 11th century. They are older than the Oduduwa they mentioned, because Oduduwa is a son that wandered from Benin into Ile-Ife. The people of Ile-Ife trying to center the whole world and the white men to have come from them is a lie. I'm not shocked because the Oni already said this. Listen to this video.
All the mystery stories in the Bible are actually with us here. A lot of people won't believe it. Ark of Noah is in Ile-Ife. Ark of Noah that the entire Western world, we've been looking for it. It's actually here. Tower of Babel, where God actually scattered the language of human being, is actually in Ife. So many mysteries in Yoruba land. It's unbelievable. The work of God, civilization, organization, structure started from
Ifa Oriawo, and they now came up with a crown from Oduduwa, and they now took it to Kemet, and from Kemet they took it to Egypt, and that's how pharaohs in Egypt emerged. So it's called Ifarawo. The crown that they took from Ife is Ifarawo. Now the kings of Egypt, they're called pharaohs.
The Gómìnà, Ìjẹ̀ṣà, Èkìtì, Àkókó, Ọ̀wọ̀, Ifẹ̀, Ọ̀yọ́, Ẹ̀gbá, Ìbàràpá, Yewa, Kétu, Ìjẹ̀bú, Ìkálẹ̀, Àwórì, Ìlàjẹ, Ìṣẹ̀kírì, Ànàgó, Pópó. These are all subgroups of the Yoruba people.
Owo, Ekiti, Akure, Ondo, Ikales. Some of these people trace their ancestry to Benin. But the fact that you saying the original Yoruba language today, which is the Oyo language, is a parent language which every other subgroup of today's Yoruba got their languages from, and they have dialects, is a lie. You claim Ile-Ife is where the word started, is the originator of every Yoruba tribe today. Why didn't the Yoruba use the language originally from Ile-Ife? Is Ile-Ife now a language or a dialect of the original Oyo language? Ask yourself. So you shot yourself on the foot there. If Ile-Ife's language was not used by Ajayi Crowther, this means Ile-Ife's language is also a dialect, meaning Ile-Ife is clearly under Oyo, as Oyo is now the parent language, which is Yoruba, of which everybody knows. Let's continue.
Now, what about the Edo people? Many of us are of the misconception that the Edo are actually a subgroup of the Yoruba, but that is very, very far from the truth. The Edo people are not a subgroup of the Yoruba. They are not Yoruba at all.
Yes, it's correct here. The Yoruba people of today and Edo people might have geographical closeness, but they are not from the same ancestry or the same people. The only connection we have is that our son Ekaladeran wandered all the way to a place called Uhe in Kogi State, and from there he found his way to a place called Ile-Ife. This history was also confirmed by the original page and the official website of the current Ooni of Ife, where he made mention that there were three Ife, Ife Odaye, Ife Oyelagbo, and the third Ife was founded during the arrival of Oduduwa and his group. This is to say, Oduduwa himself, who we call Izoduwa, Ekaladeran, was a stranger to Ile-Ife. And today, we also have the history that in 16th century, Oba Zolani Baomi, the father of Oba Esigi, the grandfather to the Oba that founded Eko, also was exiled to a place called Ora in Onwa today in Edo State. And after 3 years, he was requested for by the elders to come back into Benin and take the title of the Oba, which he accepted. And his elder brother, Oba Olua, also sent his son, Iginuwa, to a place now known as Ishekiri land. And today, the son of Iginuwa, the son of Oba Olua, became the Olu of Ishekiri. If these people left Benin to today's Yoruba land, maybe today they will still fight with us and argue with us that our son never left our place and become a king in their own territory. They will argue with us. But let's continue.
Just as the Nupe, the Igala, the Hausa, and the Igbo people are separate peoples or nations entirely.
I'm shocked when he made mention of every other tribe, and he made mention that Igbo are different tribe from them. According to Ooni of Ife, on this particular video, which I'll play for you to listen, he said the Igbo people once lived in Ile-Ife, and the source of the words of Ile-Ife are from the Igbo ancestry. So I'm surprised now that you didn't watch the video. You now contradicted yourself. The Ooni clearly talked about the Igbo of the eastern part of Nigeria, not the Ugbo people. So let's continue because this is not my business.
Actually discovered it first. And the truth be told, the race that first discovered prosperity and wealth, and they really nurtured it, are the Igbo race. The Igbos first discovered it through their ancestral background. The lineage of Obatala discovered the prosperity and wealth in terms of the divinity world. And that's the reason why today the race of Igbo people, they're very, very particular, and they have very good expertise when it comes to commerce. They are very distinct all over the world. There is no place in the world that you will go that you won't find an Igbo man. And the same goes with the Jews. There is this mistake that the world usually make. They make this mistake that the Igbos came from the Jews. No, it is the other way around. The truth be told, the first human race that existed was the Igbos before the Jews. And we were all living together at the center of tropical rainforest, which is the heart of the whole thing, the land of expansion. We were all living together as one big happy family before they started moving clockwise. They started moving towards the eastern part of the world, where they started settling. So the race of the Jews and the Igbos are very similar, but the Igbos are way older than the Jews. They are both commercially driven. They are both enterprise in nature. They are.
Some of you Ife-centric people wants to throw Benin as an empire into the bin, and in 2025 you are trying to create the word Ife Empire, of which I believe none of us have heard of that before. But I'll take you back to 1700s, 1600s, 1800s. There were some books that were written extensively by some authors. I'll be throwing just a little light on those books. Let's go through it ourselves. In 1760, a book was written by Ludwig Ferdinand Romer, and the title of the book is A Reliable Account of the Coast of Guinea. It was later translated to English by Selina Aslod. We will be reading the English version. I wouldn't want to bore you all much, but let's read few lines in this passage. It said, Benin influence are great bits. Before the Portuguese or other Europeans came to the coast, the king at River Benin was emperor over the entire Guinea coast, all the way to River Gambia. And some say that this rule extended the same distance southward from River Benin. It was therefore a greater kingdom than China. I believe that only a few Europeans on the coast know this, although they can see vestiges of it daily. The red contrate which the Negroes wear was an imperial symbol of honor. The old-fashioned swords which the Negroes consider to be a great object of splendor in their families are proofs that they are descended from a royal field marshal or captain. But it strikes me with a strange that the Negroes' language differs so much from each other. Let's read the page 25. I'm sorry I'm boring you all, but I have to make you understand. Now, let's go to the second paragraph. It said, this Englishman was irritated by a Dutch author, that's the person that wrote before, that wrote about Benin, Bosman, who, in his description of Guinea, when also describing the capital city of Benin, depicted it so disdainfully, saying that the country's form of government and the chief, the city, were not much better than those of the kings of the Gold Coast. Therefore, the Englishman wanted to assure me that Bosman or his assistant had never been there, but that he had written this according to what he had been told by Negroes who lived 50 miles before or beyond the mouth of the lagoon, and who knew the capital city, Benin, no better than Bosman. According to what he said, the Benin Negroes are very cautious and well-mannered. Moreover, they have a sort of literature which consists of many hieroglyphic figures and images in stones by which they can record and narrate their entire history and that of the country. Today, you see the Igun Bronze Guild. I go there almost all the time, and you can see the ones the British looted, which is still scattered all over some museums in the world. If the people of Ife, or the Ife-centric people, can bring the bronze works of Yoruba according to how they claim, because they do not mention just a particular tribe under the umbrella of Yoruba, they mention all. If any Ife-centric historian can bring this kind of works that describe how the Ife people recorded their history through stones and bronzes. Then I'll back down from arguing with you that Ife is not an empire. But for now, this is an evidence that people wrote extensively about Benin. Let's move on. So these were what Romain recorded about the empire of Benin. History does not care about your emotion. So there's no way you are going to paint it in 2025. If you had a book in about 1500, 1400s, or 1800s that talked about Ife Empire, I'll be happy to see that book. Just make any reference. We'll get the book. Everybody can get books. But now trying to paint the Benin Empire as just a kingdom is distortion of history. So in 2025, I believe everyone should be able to differentiate between our past and what we are trying to create in the present. So Benin as an empire will also be read from another book written by a Ghanaian, not a Benin man or an Edo man or an Edo-influenced man. So we will be reading from a Ghanaian book, and I'll be making mention of the book now. In 1800, another book was written by a Ghanaian. The title of the book is The History of the Gold Coast and Ashanti. The person is a Ghanaian. The author of the book is a Ghanaian. He is no other than Reverend Carl Christian Rendo. He was a native pastor at that time. These are what he recorded about the empire of Benin. We will just be reading this chapter in the history of the Gold Coast, written by a Ghanaian, not an Edo man, like I said. So if you need the book, here is the book. You can go get it. He said in this chapter 1, page 9, as already remarked, when the whole Gold Coast was under the emperor of Benin and governed by kings appointed by him, there was peace throughout the whole extent of the country. But after the arrival of the Portuguese and the immigration of the Shi tribes, the unity was dissolved. Hence, we hear toward the end of the 17th century of 11 powerful states or kingdom on the coast. Besides, those in the interior, they are, according to Bosman, Asim, Ante, or Ahanta, Adom, Gabi, Komani, Afutu, Sabu or Asabu, Forte, Akron or Gomorrah, Agona, Akwamu. The kingdom of Accra had already been destroyed by the Akwamus, hence the 11 states mentioned. Else, there would have been 12. Those immigrants, by their conquest, introduced their languages or their language among the Aboriginal race. Hence, we see that the Chi is spoken in all the kingdoms or states forming the western province of the colony, although several states retain their mother tongue. Besides, let's quickly read the page 4 in the same history of the Gold Coast written by the same Ghanaian author. It said, we now come to the traditional accounts of the native of the Gold Coast, which seems to confirm and prove Roman statements concerning the empire of Benin. The first instance is the kings of Lagos were formerly appointed from Benin.
Before a person is crowned king in Edo land, certain things must first be done in Ile-Ife. And even after the death of an Edo king, the authority of Ile-Ife is never bypassed.
He shot himself on the foot when he made mention that the Obas of Benin, even after they pass, we always have something to do with the Oni of Ife. If you have a picture where a crown prince in Benin or the heir to the throne of Benin visited Ile-Ife, you can kindly send a picture of what he was doing at Ile-Ife. If you have a picture or a video clip, kindly provide it. If you've read the book called H.L. Ward Price, Dark Subjects, he made mention he was a white man. He didn't live in Benin. He was a white man. He was a district officer at Oyo. He wrote, during the burial of one Oni of Ife in the 30s, he wrote that the cowling chalk and the tying of the toes during the burial rites is very similar to that of Benin, and this practice must have been gotten from Benin people. And he said the native cowling chalk that was used to rub the body to preserve the body of the Oni was gotten about 200 miles away from Benin. This sparks reaction between the Yoruba and Edo people now. If I should ask you, why will the people of Ife leave their territory to come into Benin to get the cowling shock that will be used to preserve the body of the Oni? I don't think you have an answer to that. But a white man recorded it, so it's not from a biased point. And not only that, if you've also read the newspaper in the 90s, 1991 precisely, the Oni of Ife, the past Oni of Ife of blessed memory, Oni Sijuade, made mention while he was coming out from the Olojo festival during the spiritual performance, when he was interviewed, that every Oni of Ife must sacrifice some black cows when the Oba of Benin is visiting Ile Ife. And when the Oni of Ife is to visit the Oba of Benin, he must sacrifice another cow. So you ask yourself, why will a father sacrifice to a son? Why will a father still sacrifice to a son again when he's visiting his self-acclaimed son? You should ask yourself these questions. This is the newspaper that published it in the 90s, but I don't know why it is never seen today. But I'm happy that the people that recorded history took a copy of this newspaper. If you have any evidence to back this up, or the reasons why the Onis must make sacrifices, then you should provide it. And tally this to our history. It correlates with our history that a Kaladeran took an oath never to step foot in Edo land today. So whenever whoever represents him, because the Oni of Ife is not a direct descendant of Oduduwa, whoever represents him today must also cleanse the land he is to enter, must cleanse himself before he is to enter the land of Edo. This is to cleanse the oaths, else there might be a disastrous end. So before the Oni of Ife must come, he must make sacrifices. Before the Oba of Benin must go there, the Oni of Ife must quickly look for items to make sacrifices so as to appease the ancestors who was a Kaladeran. I'm glad that you said you are open to discussions. Clearly, I have brought out the flaws I found on your video. So if you will do me well, and every other people that watch this video, that they've watched yours as well, and the generations that are to come, you can kindly make another video with proof for each and everything you said on your video. If you provide your own sources, I'll provide mine. And then the people that are listening to you can know you are coming from a right perspective. For me personally, I wasn't supposed to engage you. If you were talking about another tribe, that's not my business. But I cannot fold my hands for you to twist my history for me, and people will believe you. You do this just for views, or maybe you are doing it for money. I don't know. But for a fact, if you see this video, since you are open to contributions and other opinions, kindly bring out your sources or evidence for what you just said. Or you can kindly send the message across. And we are open. We can open a live session and we'll discuss about this in a civil way, in an educative way. It is very simple. So my people, there are some people you don't just listen to online. And before listening to them or after listening to them, you have to make your own research as well. So this will be all for this particular video. I love Nigeria. I love Africans. I love the Yoruba. I love every other tribe, and I love my own Edo people as well. Thank you.